Good morning. Hi, it's Rebecca from Enlightened with Essential Oils, and this morning I'm back at my desk. I've just been doing some journaling. I wanted to have a mini break just to let things integrate a little bit, things that I've written down that I wanted to kind of just take a breath on and just process, I guess. Integrate, process, same. So one of the beauties of essential oils in my life has been the ability to create the habits, the rituals, the ceremonies that kind of make my life feel more present and sacred and embodied. And this is something I've learned over the last probably 2 or 3 years now, more so than ever throughout my oily journey. And so I wanted to bring a few oils to you for letting go, because one of the things that I was reading this morning as I was journaling, and my cards that I have been shuffling every day for the last 3 days, because I really just wanted to simmer in the beauty of this current season. And interestingly, a siren is going off right now. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. I've actually got my office window open today because my boys weren't a big fan of my incense, even though it's a beautifully handcrafted incense. And I really love not only essential oils but also incense, but I'm very picky and choosy on my incense as well, because there's a lot of toxins that can be put into the air through synthetics if it's not really beautifully handcrafted incense. So yeah, being a conscious consumer is on the top of my list, and sometimes those things do cost a little bit more, but in the long term I think it's worth the cost over a period of time that it doesn't cost in other areas. So it doesn't cost my health, it doesn't cost the environment, it costs because people have taken the time to really master their craft as well, which I love. And I really love to pay for that kind of quality as well, and their time and their effort and their joy, because it's like therapy almost, these kind of things. Like, they just like get in the zone, in the flow. So who doesn't want to honor that? So one of the things, again, just loving the incense as part of the ceremonial kind of aspect, like lighting something with a flame is actually really quite a beautiful representation of creating the space for one's own self. And it's almost like a mini rite of passage. So with that, with the things in life that we're constantly going through, this is something that we've even been talking about. I've noticed a lot of people saying how funny is it we talk about before COVID and after COVID, which I don't know where the defining moment of those two things were, but it seems to be that there's a mindset around that which people are using to choose those words around, which is quite profound in my world of just like, wow, like just being consciously aware of what's happening in our, I guess, collective consciousness and our communities and the world, and just everything, right? So this morning I pulled a card which I've had something similar in the past, and I actually pulled that similar card again, and now I've got them combined together. So it was very interesting. One was change and one was transition. I've had transition before, and I also got the Divine Feminine this time, but yesterday I actually pulled out the card Divine Masculine. So what I wanted to do today was actually talk about change, because I think that this is something that, you know, people do probably grapple and struggle through, is changes like, how do I move now? Where do I go now? What's the next step, you know? And I think for me, like, one of the things that I love, like I said, is like putting on some incense, doing some journaling, lighting a flame, putting essential oils from a roller, or applying it to my body, and just like sitting for a moment for myself to take a deep breath and remembering that, you know, everything is all good and it's gonna all come out the way it's supposed to at the end. So that might sound super woo-woo, because I definitely feel like there's there's definitely an element of allowing, and there's a definite element of intention. So, you know, a lot of people will probably talk about this, even though we had the best intentions, it didn't work out the way we wanted it to work out. And that in itself is showing that you can have both. It's the almost duality of life. So letting go is part of change, and there's a few things that I want to share around what letting go is. So I was going from, you know, the beautiful ability to create our own little ceremony for ourselves, which is, I feel, really important for a deeper sense of self-care and slowing down and not rushing. And that is so important to me in my life, and that I set that example for people around me as well, because I can rush, but, you know, it's like the wheel gets turned, right? So slowing this process down is like, you know, the fact that we're talking about change, and now I want to kind of move into what does change require if you want to do the things like I just said, the next step, where do I go now, all of those things. So at some point, whatever was has to be let go of to be able to move forward, right? So I thought today I would choose some oils that help with the process of letting go. Things that have really worked for me in my life when I'm feeling really kind of uptight and tense and stressed, and those are the signs of struggle, and those are the signs of potentially even stuckness, and also potentially the signs of you know, that grapple between what is and how to let go to move forward. So that stress, I think a lot of people probably know about, like, you know, even just the daily grind kind of stress of, you know, getting to work and traffic and the basics, like, you know, how many times I've calmed myself in my own car down by just like saying it's okay if I run a little bit late, or maybe I should have been a little bit more prepared, but I'm not, so here I am, and I'm here and right now, and I give myself the space to just, instead of winding myself up into a place of like, holy shit, that guy's like really going too slow, he's not even going the speed limit, or, you know, well, there's so much space between that car, like, let's, you know, keep the flow of the traffic going. You know, I know this from personal experience, and the reason that this has happened is because of stuff that, you know, I've learned. And so having to have that conversation with myself is, I'm not going to get that much further, and, you know, I just need to chill right now, because it's not going to let the process, like, it's not going to make the red light go any faster. It's not going to make them go any faster, you know. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like hand in hand with the process of like, and then interestingly enough, what usually happens is when you let go is that things flow. The traffic changes, or people do, like, just like, because it's that attachment to that stress, that tension that's between, and because of those things, it's really interesting that it actually does hold us back instead of allowing for flow. So anything that we can let go of is going to help reduce the tension and create ease and flow in one's own life. And this is like, sometimes I'm just going to say it, and I don't like it, but it's just going to come out of my mouth right now, is, you know, these are the lessons we learn, and I'm really not a big fan of lessons. Like, that's one of my pet peeves in the spiritual world. Lessons we learn, you know, but I guess in a sense they are, but then it's like, oh my goodness, like, you know, this whole kind of concept that we have to learn a lesson is kind of one of those things that just peeves me slightly. So let's get into the reducing of stress oils, and I can let go of that even. So first oil that came to mind when I was considering this as my video for today is Peace and Calming. This oil here, I don't know if you can see that very well. It's a beautiful roller blend, and it's got its own little roller, or you can actually get it in a little 5ml oil, or even a 15ml oil. I think Stress Away, no, Peace and Calming is only a 5ml, I think. Stress Away is a 15, which is the next one I'm coming up with. So Peace and Calming is a very citrusy aroma. There's something about it, about citrus, that just calms the whole soul. I don't know about you guys, but even if you grabbed an orange or a lime, or not so much a lemon, but the orange, I feel like the orange has a little bit more of a wholesome aroma. It's the sweetness in the citrus family, I guess, whereas lemon's quite zesty, and so is lime, so is grapefruit. But I guess it's that allows us to just take a big deep breath and relax and just like allow things to flow. So Peace and Calming is my first go-to oil for when I'm feeling stressed and I'm tense and I'm not feeling like I'm going to let go. Let me have the peace and the calming that I need to move forward. It's in its own right almost like a little moment. So the next oil I'm going to talk about is Stress Away. This is a really, really massive favorite for me. If you've ever seen a child in a massive meltdown or tantrum, which I don't really class children's meltdowns as tantrums. Sometimes they might be because it's in our language, but I actually feel like it's more like unmet needs, and you know, some children have little sensitivities and things like that that some people just aren't that observant to, and maybe as a sensitive person myself, I'm guessing that maybe I pick up on that a little bit. Like, I'm like, actually, if you just actually dropped to your knees and got on their level and just really just was there for them, eye to eye, being super present instead of being on the next thing already, then you'll probably find them actually calming and melting out of that meltdown into a more relaxed state that you can then actually create a coherence between you and your child, or whoever's child it is if you're a child carer. So one of the things I had in my child when he was younger, my second son, had a lot of different things happening in his life, and he would just definitely melt down. And in that meltdown I knew there was something else going on. Like, what have I missed here? Was it a nutritional factor? Not to beat myself up, but I just knew there was a reason for the meltdown, you know, like, what have I missed is just a way of processing, I guess. And then, like, you know, have I, you know, not done something in the timing for a nap, or, you know, have I not actually been in his space enough, like, you know, attachment parenting type style. Anyhow, I used to use Stress Away often on the back of his neck here, and it's also in a roller, so it was super easy for me just to roll it on the back of his neck, and he would just like deeply relax immediately, and I would feel like, wow, this is a miracle oil. So whatever was going on for him, he would like just be like taking a deep breath and letting go, you know, and then being able to regulate again and move forward and be able to calm and either fall asleep or, just be a little bit more in harmony with everything, you know. So stress away is probably like for children that need to let go of stuff as well as adults. For me, I love putting this one in my diffuser. I've got it in my diffuser right now alongside my incense. My incense is more ritualistic for that smoke, that clearing, that ceremony. But the oils, when they're in the air, when you're breathing those oils, inhaling those oils in, like, it's just like, you know, I don't want to get on the next catchphrase, but it's a whole vibe. So stress away is really, really amazing, and especially if you're a mum. And you just need to constantly be letting go as a mum, I really do feel, because as your children grow older, you have to then also meet them with where they're at, and when you're meeting them with where they're at, you're constantly having to let go. Like, it is, every day is a new day. They're growing, you're growing, and everybody's just like doing new things now. It's like the epitome of change right in front of you. And women do it when they're also with child as well, as they grow with their baby in the womb. It's definitely also a stages thing. It's a growth thing. It's an expansion thing. It's just a divine human. I don't even know what to call it. A divine human way. And that brings me to another beautiful oil. Speaking of divinity, is sacred sandalwood. Let me see if I can get that into the will it focus? Not sure. Here we go. Sacred sandalwood. So this oil is a very deep oil. And I think this is a really beautiful oil for those ceremonies. So, you know, when you want to be like, you know, making a puddle of oil in your hand, that's quite an expensive puddle of oil, because sacred sandalwood is an up there in price-wise oil. But if you're making a really nice puddle of oil in your hand, and, you know, you're really doing something sacred to actually allow yourself to process and let go. Like, sacred sandalwood could be something that you might even use in a yoga practice to help you just like move through whatever you need to move through to let go. You know, I just really feel like it's like one of the things that you want to put on the top of your head and at the bottom of your feet as a practice to actually allow yourself to rest and be for 2 moments at minimum, you know, like put yourself in shavasana and just like take as long as it takes just to melt into the ether. That is a beautiful way of giving yourself time to let go, and then as you actually kind of move gently into, you know, awakening back into, you know, the surroundings, then it feels new. It feels like fresh and something else. So it's almost like I said, it's like a mini rite of passage. You're actually creating a transitional way here to actually move forward and let go. So you're here now, so it's like a past and present and future thing all at once. So yes, I definitely feel like sacred sandalwood is one of those oils that you can use for creating that moment of letting go and letting go and letting go. All right, next one. I think I might go with the release first. I've mentioned release in previous videos for so many things. It's a very good one if you're in a stuck emotional space. And if you, like, I've even had other Young Living community talk about how release has been amazing for when they're really feeling stuck and they put it in their diffuser overnight and let it go on the longest setting that they can, so they're inhaling it in their sleep, and they feel that energy shift in the morning, which I'm like, wow. Like, when I hear things like that, I know it's the benefit of having the oil actually in your space doing its work, but also the oils create that mindset shift as well, for one to wake up in a better space as well. So it's both. The oils are complementary to actually allowing yourself have that shift in energy and in mind and in body too. So yeah, I love release for letting go. It's in the name itself, release, let go. So, you know, and it's not as easy as you think, actually, releasing and letting go. Sometimes it requires some really time. And when I say that, like, for example, when I do my morning cold pool plunge and breath work in the mornings, I was just listening to Wim Hof again yesterday, and he was saying, like, how long does it take? And he said it takes about 2 minutes for your body to get into a really, what was the state he was talking about? Where, I don't know if it was a coherent state or something, where your heart is really doing what it needs to do to come to a more relaxed and let go almost space, is what I heard when he spoke about it. It was like one of those not Instagram reels, YouTube shorts. And I just saw it on the YouTube, and I was like, oh, yep, that looks like something I want to watch. And it was literally like probably a 2-minute video, and he just explains things so well. It's very clear, that man. So very inspiring. And when he talked about it, it felt like in that moment when he was saying what he was saying about the heart kind of having that deep relaxation within about 2 minutes of being in that cold water, it felt like, yeah, that emotional release, that like letting go, that like like big deep breath and letting the body cool and calm. So yeah, I mean, it's not an easy process, but it can happen in a minute or 2 minutes. It can happen as long as I think it takes for one to actually regulate their breath. So I think at the end of the day, breathing is the key element in letting go. Because when you think about it, right, you're inhaling. What happens when you exhale? Oh, is that not the best feeling ever? That is the best feeling ever. Okay, let me just move to the next one, which is perfect for what I was just talking about just now, is surrender. So these are all blends, and when you start looking into the actual oils inside these blends, you'll actually probably find some key reasons why these oils are named the way they are. And I'm never really a big fan of surrender. I've always bought surrender just for the practice and the art of surrender, which is kind of part of letting go. But I'm really not a fan of it at all. I don't actually know what the oil inside surrender is that I don't really like. It's hitting at the back of my throat right now. It's almost like fine wine when you're actually taking that deep breath of a beautiful red wine, or whichever wine that you like to taste test or aroma test. It's kind of like that. You're like, oh, where is it hitting in my palate? Oils are the same like that. Okay, so let me just have a quick look at what's in this oil just so I can see. Oh, I know what it is. It's chamomile. Chamomile, always. I've never really been a big fan. And you know, chamomile is one of those deeply relaxing oils. Kind of revealing a part of me there, right? I just really want that part of me just to be able to enjoy that, so I can know that I'm at that deeper level of relaxation. So surrender is a part of letting go, because I guess at some point in time, letting go is actually like, okay, breathing, surrendering, letting go, knowing you've got your full intention in mind, but like just that tension, that attachment, that's, you know, really just got your full attention and focus. When if you just moved or shifted focus and surrendered and let go, then maybe that might, like I said, create ease and flow and happen a lot easier and maybe even quicker also. I just really feel like surrender is a beautiful oil as part of all of the oils that I pulled out of my YLEO collection. And the final oil I've got, and this is like a practice for life with letting go, I feel. For some people, and probably all of us actually, in different parts of our lives or even on a daily basis. The thing about this oil is it comes with sometimes some potential stigma. So I'm just going to put it out there and let's see what you guys think. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. But the final oil I've chosen is forgiveness. And this is a really old, well-loved oil. So its label is a bit how's it going. But you can still see it. So this oil is a very gentle oil. Oh, I just chucked it right on my nose. It's got a very like relaxing flow of probably a floral aroma. Let me just quickly, yeah, it has rose in it and frankincense. I can't read it anymore, my label's gone a bit, how's it going? Like I said, see, it's very difficult to read like that. So let's just talk about forgiveness and letting go. So forgiveness for me is like a clean slate. Sometimes people say, I'll forgive, but I won't forget. And there's a whole controversy conversation around that, right? Because if you've forgiven someone, then do you really forget or do you not forget? Like that's, like I say, controversial. You know, if you're still holding on, are you still forgiving if you're still remembering what actually occurred? For me personally, I feel like there's a couple of elements and layers within that conversation. So, you know, sometimes it's something where you don't have the emotional intensity around it anymore to be able to let go and forgive, but still be able to have that memory, but without the emotional intensity. So, and that can take therapy. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the word therapy, but maybe working with a practitioner or working with a counselor or someone in the realm of giving that level of support. And sometimes it takes longer than other times. So, you know, we can talk about, you know, the everyday being in the traffic, or we can talk about, you know, letting go on a deeper level of, you know, past hurts as well. So to free ourselves up, right? To free our own energy, to flow better, to, you know, enjoy life for what it is, and be able to have, you know, joy rather than just always being in that space of, the best word is hurt or pain, hurt, even stuckness, all of those words that are, you know, whatever feels like you can't move forward and are not enjoying life and feeling like you're, you know, so, you know, even on a daily, a lot of people use forgiveness at the end of the day. There's a beautiful forgiveness prayer. I don't know if you guys know it. I've probably shared it on different posts before and different videos about the Ho'oponopono prayer, which is I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. And that is a beautiful prayer, which is part of a pranic Hawaiian philosophy, which was brought to the world by Dr. Hugh Len, and then also, why can't I remember his name right at this moment? Such an amazing man. I've got one of his books up there that Joe Vitale. He's very much a leader in the field of this kind of learning as well, and knowledge, one of the knowledge keepers of that. And Dr. Helen and Dr. Joe Vitale came together and did an amazing course for Ho'oponopono to teach people how to actually practice forgiveness, and his story is amazing too. That's for a different time. I just want to keep it to these oils, letting go and breathing again and moving forward in whatever way that looks like for you. Another oil which I haven't got here in my collection, and I even looked through some of my old empties, it must be a very long time since I've had it in my collection, is sage. So I talk about incense, and I've also got some Palo Santo wood. I've got Palo Santo oil, but one of the things I have not got in my home at all is sage. I don't have the sage in a incense type, what do they call them, wands, like a sage wand, which is just basically a wrap of lots of dried sage, which you burn and clears the air from all energies, good and bad. And then there's also, actually I do have some white sage that I was gifted a while back, and I completely forgot about that until just this moment. So I do have sage around, but I just haven't used sage for a long time, and I don't have the sage essential oil, which I haven't used for a long time either. And sage is a really beautiful oil to use for forgiveness and clearing and ceremonial ritual practices, to rite of passage and moving forward and clearing and letting go. Whew, that was a big long sentence. So yeah, I pulled out one of my emotional releasing with essential oils books, and it does talk about letting go and letting God, let go and let live, which is using the oil sage. And interestingly, it's associated with the alarm point is the word that I've used in this book, but I would say like a meridian or a pressure point of the bladder. So when I go to the charts that they put into the book for bladder, let me just quickly go to those charts. What chart have they got on here? So they do have it on one which I just turned to, which was E. So if I just look at bladder, well, you can imagine bladder where that pressure point might be, but it's about probably, I would say like from the thumb to the finger below your belly button. So this being your belly button and this being the alarm point underneath. So it's around about approximately about a hand from your belly button down approximately. So if you wanted to, if you've got some sage around, not using any kind of flames, no burny bits near your belly, near your bladder meridian point, it could actually be worth just experimenting and giving it a try and seeing if anything shifts for you in your energy, or if anything is, even, relaxed in your whole body. Like if it makes you breathe again. If you're taking a big deep breath and relaxing and letting go, then that is the gold. That's the pricelessness of oils, and working with yourself and giving yourself that space to be able to do that for self-care and also for moving forward and letting go. So with that being said, I feel like I'm going to bring this to a close now, and as always, I want you guys to know that if you would like to purchase any oils, you can click on the links in the description below. If you would like to get some wholesale prices, so which is 24% difference from retail price, and open your own wholesale account, then I can help guide you through that. Again, there's links for that below also. And if you would even like to do something with finding out more about how you can earn commissions and receive payment for sharing the love of these oils like I do, there's also the ability to become a brand partner. And if you would like to know more or learn more about that, again, I'm happy to help. We can set up a time, one-on-one Zoom call. And otherwise, if you feel savvy enough to venture down that path, you can use one of the links below will tell you how to just move forward anyhow. So if you're quite savvy, you'll just naturally do that. I know that was what I was like when I first got started. I was like, I can just do this. This is in my realm. I know how to click links. So I know how to read the prompts. I know how to take the steps. So if that's you, then I'm sure you'll figure it out for sure. And if you would like to stay connected, please click on the subscribe, and you can see my future videos. Stay tuned for those. And if you feel like this is a great video for somebody that you know, please feel free to share. You can click on the share button or copy the link and send it in a messenger or SMS. And then there's also I think a little alarm bell where you can actually get notifications when I do my next video. So hopefully if that sounds like it resonates with you and you like what I'm sharing, then I would love for you to join me. So thanks for being here, and thanks for listening and taking this time for you. And I'm super grateful, and I'll talk to you again. Thanks for now. Bye for now.